Chess Two Kingdoms is, at its heart, a game that turns an ordinary game of chess into a vehicle for storytelling. Written and published by Takuma Okada, Two Kingdoms gives players an opportunity to weave a narrative about two conflicting factions, using short scenes and prompts to guide the story's development. Easy to read and easy to play, Chess Two Kingdoms is a fun and innovative spin on one of the oldest games in history. This review covers version 0.3 of the game. A PDF copy was provided for free by the author. Two Kingdoms is designed to be setting-agnostic and easily adaptable to whatever genre players prefer. The most important point players must keep in mind is that there must be a conflict between two factions. This conflict could range from religious wars to a territory dispute between biker gangs. It really depends on the world players want to explore. But chess is a game with two sides, and Two Kingdoms must follow suit. I appreciate the setting-neutral facet of the game. Sometimes it's nice to build your own lore as you play, without worrying about external voices shaping the world you and your partner imagine. I would recommend that whatever setting you choose, you ensure there are at least enough potential characters that there can be an important figure for each materiel piece you control, in addition to a group of common people represented by the pawns. Furthermore, the game is also framed as a conflict between nations, with factors such as social class and religion coming into play. While I'm sure players could have fun in a Two Kingdoms match set between the Sharks and the Jets, I'd recommend widening your scope just a tad. The base mechanics of Two Kingdoms are the same as the ones used in regular chess. White goes first, pieces move with the same rules, and a checkmate ends the match. What Two Kingdoms does to enhance the experience is provide prompts based on each piece and what action it takes each turn. For instance, pawns represent the average people of a given realm, battered about by the whims of the powerful. When a pawn moves, a player must answer questions such as, how do the people react to each other? And, how are ordinary citizens supporting their leaders and putting themselves at risk for this conflict? These prompts vary based on what each piece represents. Knights are nobles, bishops are spiritual leaders, and rooks are infrastructure. The only two pieces that are explicitly individuals are the queen and the king. The king acts as the political leader of the country, whose slow, deliberate moves draw everyone's attention and command their respect. The queen is the king's partner, observed by all, wielding tremendous power with their universal mobility. I like this mix of personalization and abstraction with regards to each piece. When examining a conflict on the scale of a battle between two countries, I feel it's useful to have characters with names and faces, while still showing how various levels of society are impacted by the conflict when pieces shift and fall. Furthermore, Two Kingdoms encourages players to note the spatial relationship between pieces on the board to help set up scenes, compounding the storytelling impact of every move. A knight protecting a pawn might symbolize a noble holding a feast at the expense of a local farmer. However, if that pawn makes it all the way to the end of the board and ascends to queenhood, they may remember the knight's cruelty and order them to their death. At this point of the review, I would usually do a breakdown of the game's mechanical incentives. Since this game is based on chess, it's not really comparable to the standard RPGs I cover. In theory, players are incentivized to take more pieces than their opponent, while protecting their own as well as possible. That's just how you play chess, I don't know what to tell you. However, because this is a storytelling game, I think that using the incentive structure of chess is not the best way to play Two Kingdoms. Let me show you what I mean. The most important trick for any beginning chess player is the 4-move checkmate. You get this bad boy slapped on you during a tournament one time, and I guarantee you'll never forget it. But if you want a satisfying narrative, I'm not sure optimal play styles are the best route. Let's say we were playing a game set in, I don't know. Amazon's making a Lord of the Rings prequel? Sure. The Lord of the Rings universe. White is playing as Gondor, and Black is playing as Mordor. A standard E4, E5 opening could play out as a standoff in the ruins of a city. Neither force can advance, but they're holding position, waiting for reinforcements. Suddenly, a miracle appears in the sky, emboldening the Gondorians. They know help is on the way. But the orcs pull in additional reinforcements, while simultaneously preparing to bring in their own dark priests. The queen, who, I guess in this situation, is Gandalf, and Gandalf and Denethor are married. Listen, this isn't a great analogy, but bear with me. The queen steps behind the pawn, which we could take to mean Gandalf emerging suddenly, protecting these brave soldiers and readying them for the storm to come. The whole country is enraptured by his presence. Meanwhile, The movement of the knight calls for an event to be held. Maybe the orcs watch as their commanders feast on grog and fresh meat, seething with jealousy. Oh, and then Gandalf sneaks into the command tent, punches a few goblins, and kills Sauron. Good game, everyone! I'm exaggerating a bit, but I hope this example illustrates the point I'm making about incentives. This is technically the most efficient way to play chess. Without losing any pieces, put your opponent in checkmate. But this style of outcomes-based gameplay is entirely removed from the point of playing Chess Two Kingdoms. We had a promising start, and I think, given time, the conflict around a military stalemate could have evolved into a much more interesting narrative. But when you cut it short, you lose the opportunity to read prompts and imagine how your kingdom would react to the struggle. While using chess as its foundation, Two Kingdoms asks players to think beyond just winning and losing, and find satisfaction in the story you and a friend write together. And that kicks ass. I think there's a pretty big audience for Chess Two Kingdoms. Plenty of people want a no-prep option to tell meaningful stories with their friends. The success of Jian Shim's The Snow Queen, another chess-based narrative TTRPG, is a testament to that fact. I also love using narrative-focused games to set the stage for my crunchier, long-form RPG campaigns, so I would love to use Two Kingdoms as a world-building tool to flesh out backstories with my players. It provides a straightforward and easy-to-understand storytelling game that can be used in a huge range of settings. If you're interested in turning a classic board game into a space opera, fantasy epic, or high drama, you can't go wrong with Chess Two Kingdoms.